Hasn't been run yet, so it's still brand new. T850. This is a 5300 kV. This car is actually probably one of my favorite cars too. 6200 kV motor, Surpass Hobby, and this one is Goku. Look at everything. I disconnected the front sway bars. Carnage. This is the detail in the paint. EMBT. But if I could run this motor on 3S, does not have an identity yet. This is the body that it came with, so I'm blue Loctite them and make sure this one is blue. It feels quicker on the track than the censored. Well tuned, well built car, running the same things. Carnage. So that's my 12BL, 12B1, EMBT, EMB1, 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 and this. Okay, so I get a lot of questions on my car setups. So just want to kind of give you a close-up of how I set my cars up. So each car is going to be slightly different depending on what it's calling for. So I can't say that this is like an ultimate setup for every car because, you know, each situation is slightly different. I run higher ride height on some cars compared to the other ones. I also run different shock oils depending on which car it is. So it just kind of depends on the feel of the car itself and not necessarily one size fits all. So just kind of giving you a quick overview. This is just the standard, this is the 16BL30, 35 I think it is. Yeah, 35 amp. Okay, so it's a 35 amp and 6200 kV motor, Surpass Hobby. It's running a 17 tooth pinion. I'm running 35 and 30. Yeah, so it's 35 front, 30 in the rear, shock oil. 5K and 3K in the rear, and this is kind of just my basic RTR. Very good around the track, lands very well. And this one is Carnage. So I have not run these on the new tires yet, but we're going to test those out soon. I could tell right now that it looks like it might even be too low. I don't think the shocks are actually working enough, so we're probably going to raise that just a little bit. And you can kind of tell when your car is kind of like just plopping a little bit. I like to start at the lowest point and then kind of work my way up from there to see what the car technically needs. So I don't normally do this, just start changing stuff, but I can tell just from experience right now, the experience that I have now, that this is definitely wrong. So also have to check my droop and see where that's set. So it looks like I have a loose screw right there. So you just need to go through and just like any other car, you have to kind of go through and just make sure everything looks correct. So like always look for stuff that are loose, something that's wiggling, something that just needs to be tightened down. That way you can always have your car running to the best efficiency and you don't start breaking parts because it's flexing onto something else at that point. So this is Carnage. This is the detail in the paint. Okay, and that's an RTR, just with an upgraded motor. Let's take a look at another one. Okay, so the next one is going to be exactly the same setup actually. I was originally running this one with an 18 tooth compared to the 17 tooth on Carnage. Just wanted to see what they felt like around the track. So I'm actually liking the 17 tooth a lot better on this motor setup. And that is also loose. So again, you always have to make sure that you check everything. That is the motor mount down below. So these two are loose, which means I need to go back and blue Loctite them and make sure they're all mounted in there correctly. So always check the wheel bearings, see how they feel. This one's a little bit wobbly, so one of those bearings is probably shot. So I probably want to change the wheel bearing out on that one. Shock location, everything looks good on this one. So that's what I was saying. That shock location on Carnage is now about what this one is. So I could tell just by looking at it, it was definitely too low. So It's hard to kind of just manually adjust them without driving them, but I do have a good sense of knowledge where they should be. So this is kind of, again, a well-tuned, well-built car running the same thing, 35 and 30 in the rear, and this is a 35 amp ESC. And what else we have on here? That's pretty much it. Medium sway bars front and rear. Looks like our sway bar popped out right there, and we lost a set screw. So again, you want to go through everything, kind of make sure everything's looking alright. This is also loose. Everything else looks good on here. So we have sway bar, wheel bearing, shock tower. Looks like everything else looks okay. Just make sure all your screws are just tied in, screwed in correctly. Make sure nothing's popping out, especially on carpet down at the bottom. You don't want a screw popping out this way because it's just going to catch into the carpet and just rip it up. So want to definitely avoid that. So this one is also another RTR, and this one is Goku. Had a little smash right here. I think I probably landed on the top, so still love this body, still love this car. These are some of my favorite tires and rim combinations. The company is on vacation right now apparently, but these are a rally tire, and this is like a Tamiya style rim, as it's reinforced, very strong. See if I can get it in there. Yeah, it's reinforced, very strong, and the tire, soft compound, lots of grip, really good tire. So that's another RTR. Okay, next one. This is going to be our 10 shock. This is a 5150 running a 45 amp ESC by Flycolor. This Flycolor ESC has a lot of punch into it, so you might have to go back and adjust the setting down to a lower punch level. So it kind of comes programmed with a lot of aggressiveness down below, and it's not as linear as the Hobbywing. So it's a good ESC. It just has a different like curve, like a speed curve, I guess you would call it. Like it just feels different. It feels like it wants to give you all your power and like instantly, instead of kind of gradually getting there. So with this motor combination on this car, I think it's a little bit much. It actually feels quicker on the track than the censored, but the censored goes faster in top speed. So this one just has a lot of kick. It's a 29 can size, 2938. So it's a little bit fatter than a 28, which gives it apparently more torque, but has a good sound, has good strong acceleration. I think I might be going back to the 6200 on this one. I might keep it this way just for a little bit, just for comparison's sake. But I definitely do like the 6200 from Hobbywing a little bit better. So this is just the setup on this one. Look at everything. I disconnected the front sway bars. I just popped them out because I'm running hard front and rear, and I should be running like a medium or soft in front. So I just wanted to see what the hard felt like, and then disconnected it right afterwards to see what it felt like without it. So I just wanted to kind of get an idea what the feeling is. This one is sitting just a little bit higher, and well, it's a little bit higher in the range of where the screws are sitting for your adjustment. And the reason why, this is one of my original LCs when I first started building this track a couple years ago. So this one's been running dirt, it's been running this track obviously, and I've been using this one for quite some time. So because of that, I think the springs probably degraded just a little bit over time. You know, they're not as strong. So I did change the springs out to just an original stock spring again, but I just kind of gave it a little more ride height just to see if I could get around the track a little better. This one just seemed like it was suffering from being too low most of the time, so raising it up, giving the correct ride height for each car again made a huge difference. You're kind of seeing how I kind of set up my wirings. I normally don't show like all the little tricks that I do, but this one, you know, I'm just trying to show you everything that I do for wiring and everything like that. So Most of my wiring is kind of set down below underneath the top deck, probably most of the time underneath the actual rod itself. So I just use like a double-sided tape and kind of stick it to the ESC, and then just kind of route it which way I need it to go. These wires are looking kind of bad, but they're still fine. As long as they don't touch the other one, it's still fine. Yeah, it's still fine. So I probably have to wrap that. Okay, I see a little bit of play in the shock. It might be okay, I'm not sure. This one seems to be okay. Alright, don't see any issues with this one, so this one looks like it's strong, ready to go, no loose screws. Alright, that one looks good. And this one is blue. Okay, so next one up, this is the LC12B1. This is a kit that I did not build. I actually purchased this one. It was slightly used. It actually was like a little package deal with Truggy tires and the Truggy body and all that stuff. So I picked this one up already built. Looks like he ran it on clay. It came with Truggy clay tires, which was kind of cool. So I've tested the clay tires on this track, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But this one is running 2850. This is a 5300 kV. This is an LC motor itself. Oh, where's my cover? I forgot to put the cover on. Or do I not have a cover? Actually, I don't even know if I have a cover for this one. So, okay, so this is a 12B1 running the 2850. This is a 5300 kV running, I believe it's either a 19 tooth or 20 pinion. Let's see what else we have in here. This is a BL60 ESC. It's a 2S and 3S capable. Someone asked me just recently if I could run this motor on 3S. I have not tried it. I don't normally run 3S, but I would be willing to try it for that gentleman. I don't know for sure if it could run 3S. I'm pretty sure it can with the 60 amp or higher ESC. Definitely don't want to run it on a 35 amp ESC. So looking over this really quickly, you could see what things might need to be adjusted and fixed. So let's get that popped back in. That's just a sway bar popped out. Pop that in. Everything else looks... I go over this car quite a bit. I don't actually drive this car a lot, but I do like it a lot. And it looks like everything is set. So and again, same thing, I'm just running all my wires. All my wires are pretty much tucked in right next to the ESC. So what I'll do is I'll bunch the wires up, I'll put them in a shrink wrap, and then I get it to as tight and small as possible. And then I double side that to the side of the ESC, and then I just leave whatever wires are left to go to the receiver or, you know, battery, whatever is left. So that's how I'm able to get all my wiring to look so perfect. They're just tucked away so no one can see them. And I don't know, I've always been into cleaning wiring up. I don't like the way like some nasty wires look. Like a hornet's nest on top. So that's just kind of something that you kind of learn through, you know, working on cars and, you know, installing radios and stuff like that. You just learn how to clean up wiring. So that is clean wires. This is a 12B1 5300. This one goes about 40 miles an hour or so. This is a track killer. So this is a really good one on the track. One of my favorites. Anything else is really my favorite, but this is definitely something that's something special. So this one does not have an identity yet. This is the body that it came with, so I'm not going to name him, but I will be working on a paint job for this one. I have a clear body that I'm working on, and I think I have an idea for it, but I'm not going to ruin the surprise. So that's the one we will just use for now until it's okay. EMBT. This This one's I love this car. This car is actually probably one of my favorite cars too, for all around. This one can be run in street, dirt, track. So this one doesn't take any modifications to run in all the different conditions. You can kind of just run it. I only run this one on track. This is a track setup car, and this is an actual EMBT, just original. It's a Max 10 ESC. Running the Dumbo RC, the mini transmitter on it, and everything else is pretty much stock. Running all my cars, running a carbon fiber top deck. If you run the plastic, you will bend the rod. So that is the first mod I do on every single LC that I get, carbon fiber top deck. So something to keep in mind. 12B1 already comes with its stock, but all the RTRs do not. So I definitely highly recommend that on an RTR or even a kit. So that is the Truggy EMBT, and this one, that is not one of my good wire jobs, but it's there. It's before I actually learned how to do it, so getting better at it. This one was part of the package. Like this body is the body that came on the 12B1 along with the other one. So I didn't paint these two. I'm not going to take credit for any of this paint job, but it does look good. I do like the colors. So this one also does not get a name, but right now he is named. Ooh, I just caught thought of a name for this guy. So this one actually is going to, this one already has a body that I've already masked up, and this one's going to be pretty cool too. Now that I just thought of a different name for this one, I'm thinking if I don't know, I'm gonna figure it out, but I was thinking Mr. T from the A-Team doing a theme like that, but that's too similar to Agent 47, but who knows. So that's the EMBT all set up for carpet. Another really good car, and here's my last one. Okay, this is also an EMBT, but this is actually set up with just different gearing. EMBT comes with a 17 tooth on this motor. This is running a 19 tooth, and I'm also running like a rally style tire, which is a little bit taller than an EMB1 tire, and it gives a little more clearance, a little more speed, but it's a really good tire for this setup. So this is an EMBT conversion into an EMB. I call them the EM. When I normally name these, when I talk about these, this is a 12BL. The 12B1 is the mid motor, 12BL is the rear motor, just the standard LC setup. So you can kind of see how everything's set up here. Again, this is not one of my exclusive wiring jobs, but it's decent, so it's passable. But again, these tires also really good around the track. It's a rally tire, soft compound. You can find these on Amazon, eBay, you know, Alley, all the different places. They're really inexpensive. These rims are okay, I guess. They do crack if you land in a weird position. So the inside center can crack, and you could also crack on the lip. So normally it's the center that will crack out though. So it's a good rim to use for now, but it's not one that I would highly recommend for the track. Normally rims, I'll go over those later, but normally you want to go with the name brands and stuff like that. So I'll make a separate video of rims and tires, and also motors and ESCs. That way you can kind of get a feel of what they do and what they feel like. So that's my 12BL, 12B1, EMBT, EMB1, 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 and this is the last censored one that I just built. This is the EMB1 censored, just this is a kit car, all set up for track. Hasn't been run yet, so it's still brand new. Hasn't even got dust on it. So you can see the difference on the wheels. They're going to have just a little bit of play, but not as much as some of the other ones. So that's the huge difference of, you can tell when the wheel bearings are gone, because they normally just kind of break free. You can kind of see it just kind of wiggling everywhere. So this is the censored. This is a 10.5 turn, 5,000 kV, and that's has boost and turbo. So this one's going to have its own theme eventually. I do not know what this one's going to be, but I think I need to run it first to see what it sounds like and feels like. It'll probably give me an idea. But that's a quick rundown of all my EMBs. I'll do another video just for the WLs, and you can kind of see how I set them up. And so something to also keep in mind too, right before I let this video end. When you see something on my cars, unless you're running them specifically on a carpet track, it does not necessarily mean that it's going to work on the terrain that you might want to drive in, which might be dirt, which might be street. There's a lot of different factors that will play into your suspension setup and your pinions and speeds and all that stuff. So this is kind of just like a baseline of the way that I set my cars up. This is, again, I said this in the beginning, this is not a one-size-fits-all, because every single one of these cars are set up differently. And it's not that I meant to set them up differently, it's just they're all set up differently to make them drive the way that I would like them to drive. So it's a process that you have to go through. You have to kind of get a feel of each one, and then you have to kind of feel what it needs, not what you want it to do. So not every time that you always want to go through and start messing with settings. Sometimes you just need to get used to the car, and that does help out quite a bit. So again, I have not run this car yet. I will run it when I get a paint job on it and figure out a theme. I wanted to run these rims on 47, but I do like the mini pins, the Schumacher, so I'm definitely not going to change those out yet. But those are definitely like my race rims. Alright, and let's go over some WLs in the next video.